spoon. I'm going to borrow it today.
I'll get you one.
Those of you who have been worshiping here for a few years, you know that a few years ago I started writing little stories. I put myself in the place of one of the participants in the Christmas story, to imagine it, to think it through, to elaborate, and so I want to share one of those with you this morning. I haven't had enough boldness to try to imagine what any of the women in the Christmas story have gone through. If one of you ladies wants to tackle that, I'll work with you on that. I feel like I'd be speaking something I shouldn't even think about, but let me just give you a bit of a disclaimer. This does come from the perspective, I'm sharing with you a story from the standpoint of one of the three wise men, the Magi, this morning. He's coming from another culture, he's coming from another spot, and so you'll hear me mention things like gods, little g gods, and I'm not saying that that's what I believe. I'm putting myself in his mind, okay? And so this is based on the Bible story, but and it contains gospel, the good news, but it is not inspired. Listen to it. Think about it. Maybe it'll cast a new light. Maybe it'll even turn the light on in your heart today. It was an impulsive act, that decision to pack up, leave our families and homes, and follow a star on its westward journey across the sky. Impulsive, yes, but also quite deliberate. You see, there comes a season in the life of every seeker after truth when you teeter on the edge of despair. How many times can a soul be disappointed before one gives up entirely on the hope of finding meaning, purpose, anything real that transcends and explains this mundane, day-to-day existence? I long ago dedicated my life to the pursuit of both knowledge and meaning, believing that this creation and in all its beauty and variety revealed a wisdom which could only come from above. I turned my focus in that very direction, to the stars. Under the tutelage of the best astronomers, I learned to search the heavens with a critical eye. The regular rhythms of the constellations as they danced across the night sky became a source of comfort and peace. They seemed to whisper, all is well, the gods are in their heaven, and life goes on as they intended. It didn't hurt that my expertise in reading the stars brought fortune and power. People looked to me to advise them on everything from when to plant their crops to who to marry. And they paid handsomely for my assistance, even though I had the strong suspicion that chance had as big a part to play as my learned observations in their subsequent success. But as I peered into the heavens, I observed other lights which moved with no real rhyme or reason. Wanderers, we call them. You know them as planets, comets, and such. At times they would edge closely together in varied alignments, and then we would watch them separate again. I wondered if there was any significance to be attached to their irregular comings and goings. Could it be that the gods had given them as signs to mankind? To that end, I began to collect stories from every point of the compass. Dreams, visions, prophecies, might reveal the hands of the gods at work. I recorded them all, and then set out to prove or disprove them based on whatever the wandering stars appeared. For many years, this private passion led to an unrelenting series of disappointments. Again and again, my hopes were dashed. Dreams from Babylon, prophecies out of the Far East, they each proved to be dead ends, one after another. I had had it. It seemed apparent to me that all those ancient accounts were mere legends. The heavens were silent. No gods had spoken to mankind. But then the star appeared. More out of habit than any real expectation, I turned again to the literature, and I found an account, a Jewish prophecy, which claimed that this specific event would signal the birth of a long-expected king. I shared my discovery with my fellow astronomers. They read the prophecy, they checked my map, and it all added up. If this was not the star of the prophecy, then it would be the most incredible coincidence we'd ever witnessed. From that moment, we began to make plans to journey westward, to the ancestral lands of the Jews, to see if the prophecy was indeed true. We outfitted camels for the trek and enlisted an experienced guide to lead us on our way. As a final act of preparation, or perhaps it was fate, we gathered up gifts fit for royalty: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These we buried deep in our saddlebags, hoping that no unsavory characters would assault us along the way. And then we set out on our journey. What a journey it was! Across barren deserts, along narrow mountain paths, and through countless rivers and streams. We traveled for weeks on end. Every time we got discouraged, every time we almost convinced ourselves of the foolishness of our quest, we would emerge from the forest onto some broad plain or some westward hillside, and we would see it again, our mysterious royal star. We would see it, and without a word, we would know that our journey had to continue. As we neared the Jordan River, the last boundary before the land of Judea, we conferred as to our next step. Where should we go? The consensus was that if we had seen the star from a distance and understood its meaning, then so had the Jewish people. If we went to Jerusalem and inquired of the leaders there, we reasoned, they would be able to direct us to the baby's royal home. Imagine our surprise when we found a city that was oblivious to the meaning of the strange light which had been shining above their heads for some time now. Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews, we asked. We saw his star in the east, and we've come to worship him. But no one knew of what we spoke. That we were greeted by blank stares and frightened glances. People were equally unaware of prophecy and concerned by the ever-present soldiers of Herod's army. Enthusiasm of any sort seemed to be forbidden by order of the king. We had heard many things about Herod. Given his throne by the Roman government many years before, he was well known for things both good and disturbing. Jerusalem was filled with impressive architecture that had been built on his watch. But there were terrible stories of how, in his old age, he had grown increasingly paranoid and bloodthirsty. Well-informed sources claimed that he had murdered 2 sons and one of his wives for fear that they might steal away his throne. If we had had our way, we would never have gone to Herod for help. Would he be inclined to aid us or to slaughter us, seeing as how we'd come looking for another king? But as we discovered, nothing happened in Jerusalem without his finding out. He had spies everywhere. When he learned of our presence in the city, he had us brought to his impressive throne room for an audience. "Why have we come here?" he demanded. And we repeated our question, explaining that we were simply following a star. I emphasized that we were looking for the one born king, trusting that Herod would recognize my words, showing that there was no immediate threat to his reign. "Time will be needed to answer your question," he replied. "Do not leave the city. I will provide the information you desire." We left Herod's presence and found lodging in the city. For a few days we waited, seldom going out into public. It was strange to be the focus of so much attention, so much confusion, so much fear. Some would begin talking excitedly to one another when they saw us. Others would glance fearfully to the soldiers who always seemed to be present. It was a peculiar and oppressive environment. Then early one morning, while most of the city slept, a messenger arrived from Herod's court. "Come quickly," he instructed us. "Don't tell anyone where you are going." And this time we were not taken to Herod's royal hall. Rather, the envoy brought us to a windowless room. Herod soon arrived with his solitary advisor behind him. I have never been party to a more peculiar conversation. Feigning the purest of motivations, Herod first sought specific information concerning the time of the star's appearing. And then he professed his desire to worship the child king. However, I sensed a strange coldness behind the passion, as though I was watching a skilled actor display emotions he did not really feel. And after extracting a solemn promise from us that we would report back to him as soon as we found the child, Herod told us that the priests and scribes of the Jews had identified a nearby village named Bethlehem as the place where the king was to be born. One of their ancient prophets, named Micah, had delivered this oracle: "But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people Israel." And with that, we were unceremoniously ushered from Herod's presence. No offer of an escort, certainly no sense that we were being taken seriously, and he was not the only one to treat us that way. I do not know if the leaders of the Jews feared Herod that much, or simply doubted that the words of the prophet would come true in their day. I suspect that they were so full of themselves that they simply could not accept the idea that Gentiles like my colleagues and I might have recognized the gracious activity of their God from far away when they did not. All I know is that when we walked out of the gates of Jerusalem, we were just as alone as when we entered them. This strange lack of interest among the leaders of the Jews almost convinced us to head home. We've been away from our families for a long while now. But on that first evening, outside the walls of Jerusalem, we found our heavenly companion, the star. It was still shining almost directly above us now. Knowing that the little village of Bethlehem was less than 10 miles away, we decided that it would be foolish to have come so far and not complete the last leg of our journey. And oh, I'm glad we did. Bethlehem is a tiny place. And as we approached it, the star seemed to shine, to stand over a small dwelling. Within it we found a man, his wife, and a little boy. There was nothing about their appearance that shouted royalty. If the prophecy was true, it appeared, this king would have to fight his way to the throne. But as we explained the nature of our quest, the young mother warmed to our presence. She told us glorious things she had been able to share with no one. Stories of angels and shepherds, a miraculous conception, a virgin birth. I'm not certain which one of us was the first to bow to the child. As his mother spoke, it dawned upon each of us independently, yet almost at the same moment, that we were in the presence not merely of royalty, but of something more. Divinity. Without a word, we each sank to our knees. How was it that the God of the Jews could have such a big heart? Why would he reach out across the miles to a skeptical Gentile astronomer like me and draw me to that humble, holy room? That puzzled me almost as much as another question. Why weren't his own people beating a path to his door? We excused ourselves and retrieved our gifts from the depths of our baggage, and then offered them before the child. And what had seemed like too small of a gift to present to a king was absolutely extravagant in that small home. Little did we know that the gold, frankincense, and myrrh would soon fund the desperate escape to Egypt. It turned out that my suspicions about Herod were proven right. In a fitful sleep that night, I saw that his motivation was not adoration, but self-preservation. He wanted to kill the child, not worship him. So we arose before first light and agreed to travel quickly away from Jerusalem and Herod's grasp. Joseph made preparations to take the child and his mother in the opposite direction, to Egypt, similarly alerted in a dream. I shudder to think what terrible things Herod might visit upon the sleepy little village of Bethlehem. As we bid farewell to the little family, the irony of the situation could not be missed. How could it be that the best and brightest of his own people, even when told that their long-awaited king, their Messiah, was born, that they would not travel a few miles to seek him out? Perhaps that is the fundamental sin of us all. We want a God who operates on our terms and our timetable. Heaven forbid that he might expect us to conform instead to his will. In this Christmas season, O Lord God, give us ears to hear, eyes to see, and hearts to respond to all that you have done, that you are doing, and that you will do, to and through and within us. You have graciously reached out to us. May we have the faith to respond in story, but there's truth within it. It's all about Jesus. The one who was born, an unexpected king. They missed the prophecies. They weren't waiting. Shepherds and foreigners, the only ones who heralded his birth. Today, you might be like so many, and your Christmas is so scheduled. You only have time for presents right here. You only have time for that meal there because you got to go to that meal. But what about the one the whole season is about? Do you have time for him? Our hymn of invitation is the sort that speaks to what that magi, that wise man experienced. I surrender it all. I'm going to stand and sing. And this morning, if you need to make time, and room in your heart, say yes to Jesus as your Savior, Lord. I'd love to visit with you and pray with you. I'll be here at the